You're listening to Talk Star Wars, a proud member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com and take your first steps into a larger world. Talk Star Wars is a production of Emotionally 14. For fantastic podcasts, video series, blog posts, and much more, visit us on the web at emotionally14.com and enjoy content for the permanently teenaged. Hello there, and welcome back to Talk Star Wars, episode 177. I'm your host, as always, Rob Wade, and I'm joined by my intrepid co-host, the Chewie to my Han, the Near Numb to my Lando, the... Which way is Finn to the Rey, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I get. Well, that means, yeah, I guess you're the core character.
I
really,
guess.
aren't you?
I don't know. I suppose
so.
so.
You've been here longer. So
yeah, that's fair to say.
That's fine. I'm happy to be comedy sidekick. That's fine.
Comedy sidekick, then.
Yeah, I'll be the Zuckos to your Forlom, or the Forlom to your Zuckos. That's never really established.
No, indeed. Anyway, it's Brad Hammer-Barnes. Welcome.
Woo, I'm a puddle of sweat.
Yes, indeed. We are recording on the hottest day on record in the UK, and we are both suitably
7 degrees in an antiquated country. Because all the Americans go, it's 20 degrees, there's nothing right. We have no air conditioning.
No, we have cars, maybe.
Our houses, we all live in castles. You can't air condition a castle.
It's true, yeah, we do, and you know, we have servants with fans, but they can only do so much, and eventually they wear out, and you have to replace them, and that takes time because hiring is a difficult practice at the best of times. Not least of all,
shipping costs as much as anything.
Yeah, and not least of all because when they say what happened to the previous person, whose job I'm taking, it's like he did. His arms wore out, and
man, imagine taking. I know we're joking, but imagine taking a job and finding that out.
Yeah, indeed. But in any case,
that's not how I got this gig. For anyone who's new to the show,
no, of course. So just to kind of affirm before we start recording, we are recording on the hottest day of the year. There may be background fan noise. It's this or melt. So just bear with us this week, and hopefully next week will be slightly cooler.
If it really, really bothers you that much, shut up.
Yeah, I have little sympathy for, I hear a bit of background noise this week.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
I've had to soak my shirt in ice-cold water so I can wear it, so I didn't have to have my nips out in front of my co-writer here.
It's that, or I can pass out, whichever is preferable to the listeners. Anyway, let's move on. So we got an iTunes review. First time we've had one of those in a little while that's not been faint praise and damning.
Okay.
So this new one is a 5-star review. Mm-hmm. And it's from Galley the Greek on iTunes. And Galley writes, the must-have Star Wars podcast for any fan, 5 stars.
Must confirm.
Yes, indeed. So I think Galley may have written this in a little hurry, and I'll explain why. If you are a Star Wars, can you just... bless him. If you are a Star Wars fan, I'm going to infer, can you just check out this show? The two Robs are fantastic hosts, and the guests equally bring insight, knowledge, and humour to the various discussions. Thumbs up. So there you go. So that's a lovely iTunes review, very complimentary of the hosting skills of myself and Mr. Cast, and then obviously, bigging up the guests as well, and that's always lovely. So thank you for that, Galley the Greek. Much obliged. As I say, first review we've had in a little while, and the first one we've had in a slightly longer while that's been entirely positive and in no way backhanded. So
I've never even looked at our reviews. I'm just having a quick scroll through now.
Yeah, well, generally we've fared pretty well, I think. So anyway,
that's fine. That's better reviews than my books get. So fine.
Yeah, I mean, these things vary. So ultimately, I'm happy enough that people are listening and engaged enough to write. So always grateful for that.
Yeah.
So speaking of people who review us highly and contribute heavily, we have a message from Vesuvi this week. So Vesuvi writes, Thanks, Rob. Glad to hear you enjoy Solo, a Star Wars story, even more now than ever. Thanks, Brad. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, Shmee's Swedish Meatballs. Not the easiest thing to say fast. Thanks, Well-Cut Jibs. Not to cross hive minds, but I hope you're all as delighted as I am about Jerry Ryan reprising her role as Seven of Nine, as well as Jonathan Del Arco returning as Hugh in Star Trek Picard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Picard trailer?
I have not, but I have seen that Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis are both confirmed as well.
Yeah.
So Troy and Riker will both return.
I haven't watched the trailer because I'm on a Star Trek. I got into Star Trek like a couple. I watched some Star Trek when I was a kid. So I've seen most of the original series, a few Next Generations, and I've seen all of the movies apart from the most recent one.
Yep.
For no reason other than I haven't caught it. And the reason I haven't watched the Picard trailer is I'm told it connects to Deep Space Nine and Voyager quite heavily, and I haven't seen any Deep Space Nine or any Voyager. So, I'm delighted. Data's a great character. I'm glad he's back in it. I didn't know Hugh was back in it. That's really intriguing. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. I know who Seven of Nine is because I was a teenager in the 90s, but I haven't actually ever seen Voyager, so I can't get as excited.
No.
But no, everyone seems to be really, really excited about it. So that's
for
great.
Sure.
People are hungry for Trek, I think. I've heard some rumours it's actually set in the Kelvin-verse, which is intriguing.
That is intriguing, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just a licensing thing where they've got to say it's the Kelvin-verse.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I think Star Trek's one of those licenses that's been held by a few different people over the years. So
I see.
It might be they've got the rights to Picard, but not the rights to other things. I don't know for sure, but I understand it's passed through. Paramount have had it for the longest time, but certainly parts that have been farmed out to other publishers and other creators. So, and as far as I know, that's not confirmed. That's just something I've heard.
Okay, fair enough.
But in either event, that's really quite a minor thing. What's important is that the series is a good self-contained story.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it seems, like you say, even though it might tie into Deep Space Nine and Voyager, it sounds like it doesn't hinge on it to the point of, it needs to be it doesn't detract from the story.
Yeah.
It might enhance a tiny bit here and there, I guess. A bit like Rogue One.
And Patrick Stewart is an amazing actor. I will watch him absolutely anything.
I would watch him do his taxes.
Yeah.
I would be happy to just pay money to sit in a room with him while he's doing his taxes.
Yeah.
And just ask him questions every now and then going, oh, it's interesting. Like, why do you put it in that column?
I know celebrity podcasts as gimmicks are a bit of a bugbear of yours, but I would love him and Ian McKellen to have a Crazy Train type podcast.
I would be happy for them to just do like a one-time, like an Audible. You know, they do the Audible Originals thing where it's like a couple of hours.
Great, actually.
Yeah. Other services are available, but I don't think they do that same thing. So,
that'd be superb.
That
so I'm a relative newcomer to Trek, but I am enjoying it. So,
that's good.
I look forward to Picard when I get to it.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I think I've mentioned before, I've always been Star Wars and Marvel, and I'm making a concerted effort to do Star Trek and DC as well.
It's nice to dip your toes in every now and then to the other side of the fence.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm enjoying both.
Yeah, I like the... I was always a TNG guy more than a original series guy, just because I used to watch TNG with my dad a lot. And he used to have it on kind of in the evenings after work, after he got back from work and we got back from school. That would be kind of a family thing of sorts. I'd be sort of sitting there.
The first thing I saw was Final Frontier. My dad rented it.
Okay.
Which is generally considered one of the worst Star Trek movies. But I remember really enjoying it because I had no real frame of reference. And I think it was either an anniversary or just pure coincidence that the original series started running on TV again on BBC Two over here. So I kind of started watching it after that. And, I am more of a Star Wars kid, but Star Trek is growing on me.
Oh, nice. I mean, it's they actually scratch different itches, I think.
I honestly believe if they didn't have word star in the title, no one would compare them.
No, probably not. This is it. Like, so it's there's certainly no harm in, like you say, dipping your toe across the pond.
Absolutely not.
You can even go Battlestar if you feel so inclined. I'd recommend
I know you're
it.
A big fan. Babylon 5 keeps being recommended to me as well.
I never managed to get into that. I watched a bit of it, but I never really got that far into it. But I have similarly heard tremendous things from it from the people who do recommend it. So it's one I've heard very highly recommended, but just not one I've ever dipped into myself. Similarly, Firefly. Farscape, things like
pilot of Firefly.
Oh, okay. Things like Firefly.
It's
Farscape.
now fun to tell geeks that I've never seen Firefly because you can see them have a migraine in front of you. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
My friend, she used to say she's never seen a Star Wars movie, and she used to say she really enjoyed the reaction of telling people that she'd never seen a Star Wars movie because you could just watch their brains melt.
Yeah.
And I said, even better, next time tell them you've only seen Empire.
Yeah, I can see how that would certainly.
That's confusing, and there's literally nowhere to go from there.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react to that in terms of, suggest like what would I do next? Like, I can't picture it.
Exactly. So I'm hoping she took me up on that.
Yeah. Well, that would be somewhat what's the word? Be somewhat rude if they didn't, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's. I say there's certainly something to be said for. I'm trying to think what the equivalence would be. I mean, for Star Wars, there's Trek in terms of the ones that where you go across the fence and try it. Have a look at the grass on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DC to Marvel is the obvious one.
Maybe we should do Star Trek as well. Kind of spread our empire a little thinner.
let's spread everything a little thinner. What other ones are there that kind of contrast like that? Those are the big two, aren't they? That really
Marvel,
kind of
DC, Star Wars, Star Trek. Yeah, Marvel, DC, I can understand more because they are both.
They're in the same line of work.
The superhero thing, and although I don't believe they compete artistically, they do compete commercially.
Sure.
Whereas I don't believe Star Trek and Star Wars do on either level.
No. Yeah, I think they're certainly, in any case, they're all competing for kind of mind share, but that's about it. It doesn't seem to me like they're really looking for the same.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that's kind of, or even has that kind of team sports mentality to it off the top of my head. If you can, write in. No,
the Marvel and DC thing really does have that team sports thing really heavily. It seems recently, like it certainly. There's all this stuff in the States about the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and people really get people get very passionate about wanting to see that, and you can understand that as a DC fan. That's what you want because you've kind of bought into this build up that Zack Snyder's been doing, and then he hasn't had a chance to finish his work, and that's fair. But the thing that gets me is how many people get het up about the notion of it existing. It's like, why do you care if you're not going to see it?
You're not going to watch it. No, does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Like, what if you've made your bed and it's Marvel, and I do think there are people who have picked a side and are basically activists rather than fans.
Oh yeah, even when I was at my most Marvel fanboy, I've always loved Batman, and I've always loved Swamp Thing.
Yeah, well, Batman's hard not to love.
Yeah,
unless you say
Batman has the best. No, actually, one of my friends described it. It says Spider-Man has the best villains. Batman is made of his villains.
Yeah, like Spider-Man's not defined by his villains, but the villains are good. Whereas
Batman's villains are components of Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Like Joker's his kind of the complete polar opposite of his unwillingness to break the rules.
One bad day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that comic series I was talking to you about before we recorded, The Batman Who Laughs, has kind of explored that a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, he's the Batman Who Laughs is like a transdimensional Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Isn't Killing Joke? Joker says something like there was one thing that happened to you, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I actually watched the, they did the animated version.
I really want to see that. Yeah.
It's good. I have a copy if you want to borrow it.
I would love to. I want to see it just for, even if it's just an audio book narrated by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. That's all I need. Yeah, I thought it was very good. I think they did add some stuff at the beginning that I thought was. I've heard that's unnecessary.
It's a bit of a mix because it's on the one hand it's unnecessary. Well, no, and on the other one hand it fleshes out some of the storyline and you can it gives a little bit more emotional buy-in. But at the same time, I feel like they go to a too far of a degree to get that across. Okay, you'll see what I mean when you watch it. I'm sure. Okay, yeah, no, I'm intrigued. Yeah, yeah. But the animation's fantastic. Oh, brilliant! Utterly superb.
The DC anime stuff that I've seen is generally of very high quality. Yes, I've seen Gotham by Gaslight. That was very good.
It's on my pile. I'm working my way through it at the moment.
Yeah, and then my dad picked up a couple of box sets of Batman animated movies. I think he's working through them.
Yeah, they're quite good at bundling those up.
Mask of Phantasm is my favourite Batman film.
That's a good movie. I like that one. I don't think it's dated as well. If bearing in mind I only saw it this year for the first time, I think it's probably not the best time to see it, but at the same time, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Anyway,
so that's yes. We're going to start doing Talk DC because we decided we need to.
We've gone off
a little thinner.
Yeah, we've gone a bit off tear there, so we're just going to embrace it.
But it's, so with the exception of like 2 or 3 people on exclusivity contracts, they share the talent pool.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's true.
Weird.
I mean, it's true of
Wars and Trek.
Wars and Trek. Yeah, I mean, movies in general share.
We've come to accept that Jason Isaacs loves us both.
Yeah, and J.J. Abrams similarly so.
Yeah, I forget about him.
Yeah. I mean, fair. He's important in the upcoming one, but
yes, it is true.
No pressure, hey. But
wouldn't take that job.
Anyway, so
carry on.
Vesuvi had one more comment, which I've included photos for your benefit, Brad.
Okay.
So Vesuvi asked for our thoughts on the. All right. I think I can guess. This is the first time you've seen this?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
So, your thoughts on the Darth Vader retro prototype figure, casually referred to as Rainbow Vader. And she's included some images for our benefit to kind of get a sense of. So this is your first time seeing this?
Well, yeah, have an eye on the time codes, my friend. What the hell am I looking at?
It's, it's a series.
What? Are they crayons?
No, but they're kind of. I mean, they're in the same kind of bold colours. So to describe it for the listeners as best I can, obviously I'm not going to use. There's 2 photos. I'm not going to use 2,000 words to get this through, but theoretically I could because the whole proverb thing has given me some breathing room. These are a series of prototype action figures in different coloured plastics for different components. So I guess it's for articulation purposes to figure out kind of how to make that work. My favourite one is the one where Darth Vader has obviously they've all got the black cloth cape. The black plastic cape.
That just look ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the one on the right-hand side where Darth Vader's got the purple lightsaber, which looks like Mary Poppins' umbrella handle.
Yes, it does.
A pair of blue arms, and I mean sky blue.
Yeah.
A red helmet. Oh my. And Aquaman's clothes.
I was going to say it's Aquaman.
It's got
Aquaman and Skeletor's arms, and it's just for posing as the picture. It looks like he's tickling the other one under the chin with his lightsaber.
Ooh, do you like go on, Google.
Darth Ken Dodd. It's really what the hell is going on here?
It's a great question.
Is it just what do we think we can get Star Wars fans to buy?
No, it's not so much. So the second image is a special edition packaging because it was some sort of limited edition. I would imagine that's probably a comic convention exclusive type thing.
Right.
I don't imagine they made those in mass production.
That feels like commercial suicide.
I think it would be. Yeah, I think very much. It's hard to know what more to say about these. They are quite something.
Wow, that's
that's fair. That's a good word for it.
Why is it only Vader?
I don't know. Maybe there were
other characters. Yeah,
they probably did. But
I think they work better as wax crayons.
I think there's something to be said for them for sure.
Yeah, that's so weird.
They are something. They are really something. I haven't quite figured out what, but they are certainly a thing.
I feel like I should know, but at the same time, the Star Wars Holiday Special has taught me that there's some things it's okay not to know about Star Wars.
It's totally reasonable that some things are not to be known, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And, we can embrace that. As you rightly point out, the Holiday Special is an excellent example of why we should embrace that philosophy.
Yeah, totally.
So,
what I'm saying is if they put out multicoloured Jefferson Starship figures, that might make more sense. Yeah,
I mean, I would kind of go with that as a rule of thumb. I can't. Yeah, you know how the week before last we had the fan theory about Shmi and the World Between Worlds, which I tried to voice to.
I had suppressed.
Yeah,
yes,
I had tried to voice it to a work colleague today and struggled. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Without cracking up laughing at the very notion of it all.
Yeah,
but Yeah, it doesn't make any more sense the longer I think about it. It just doesn't.
It really it's a wonderful
peculiar
piece of clickbait.
Yes, it's a very interestingly put together theory, but the more I think about it, the less I want it.
Yeah, I think that's the best response possible.
Yes.
Oh God, what if it is what it is? But what if that is Abrams' big idea?
Well, I was thinking about this today actually, because Kevin Smith was at obviously Kevin Smith is a big San Diego Comic-Con guy. Yeah. He's a fan of all the comic books and superheroes and movies and all that jazz, and he's been involved in a lot of it. He also had the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Trailer being shown, so he was there for that.
Sure.
His daughter Harley's been in the new Quentin Tarantino, so she was there too for that sort of thing. And he was interviewed by IGN. It was Brian Altano who did it. And he asked him about episode 9 because he'd apparently seen a bit of it. And his words were something to the effect of, I forget the exact quote, but something to the effect of, the last scene will melt your mind. And I've been thinking a lot about what people could say would do that. And I keep coming back to the World Between Worlds, and it worries me.
That, or it pans out and the whole thing has been a hologram that Chitto's watching.
While he's waiting for his sex chat to log on. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I will say that I wouldn't read too much into that, because that's just Kevin Smith bigging up his friend's project. I remember Patton Oswalt saying that the last shot of episode 7 will totally blow your mind, and then it was the awful November rain helicopter shot, and I was like, man, I like your comedy, but I'm not going to read your film reviews anymore.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That is a fair one.
So it's Patton Oswalt. It might be Nathan Lane. I find them completely interchangeable.
Aesthetically, I would say yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It was weird when I watched, Jen was watching that documentary, The American Crime Story, about O.J. Simpson.
Oh, yeah.
And Nathan Lane's in
Not
that.
Okay.
And I can't remember for the life of me who he plays. Mm-hmm. But when I saw him, it was a struggle, because Nathan Lane looks very different in that show. Mm-hmm. Okay. You can tell it's him, but only I think it would take you a while if you weren't already aware he was in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite a jump in terms of
Michael Myers in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sure. Yeah.
You've not seen it?
No.
Oh, he's under quite a lot of prosthetics, and I didn't realise it was him until the end credits.
Oh, okay. Oh, as in Mike Myers, yeah.
Yeah, not the serial killer.
No, I was going to say, that was confusing. It's like, it's under heavy prosthetics. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's a Shatner mask.
Yeah. What was I saying?
You were talking about...
World Between Worlds. It worries me.
Yeah.
It concerns me greatly that that's what they mean by melting your mind. Because that, being on, it ending on Tatooine, that's not a big mind melter for me. That's a planet that ties it together in a lot of ways. Yeah. So for me, that's not a mind melter. For it to be a mind melter, for me, it has to be a...
Han is still alive.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, by this point, sure. Or Thrawn.
Thrawn. I mean, there could be... So there's one tack they can take with it that would kind of work for me is... I had a caveat by the fact that I haven't read Thrawn Treason yet. Mm-hmm. Because I'm still waiting for it.
Okay.
But obviously the previous Thrawn book teased that there were things kind of in the chiss space that he needed to also be wary of.
Yeah.
I would kind of be okay with the Skywalker saga ending with an acknowledgement that there's more out there to fight, and then that's where you dovetail into the new series.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe you go down the route of that instead.
It'll probably be something really stupid like Boba Fett crawling out the Sarlacc.
Well, that didn't kill me. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just keep coming back to that mind.
Hugh Quarshie just walks into shot going, now it's Panaka's time to shine.
No, wait. I'm done. No, I'm not done. No, hang on. I've got a bit. I was going to do one of these. Just do some sort of little dance. Yeah. But yeah, I just, like I say, I find it hard to get the world between worlds notion stuff out of my head fully as a way they could take it that would be sufficiently lauded as clever and mind bending.
I think I wouldn't surprise me if Luke's still around. I'm kind of, if he is dead, I'm fine with it. It annoyed me the first time I saw it. The second time I saw Last Jedi, I've come round to a lot of it. But there's still something very Gandalf for White about that.
Yeah,
and I can't quite explain what it is.
No, I get what you're saying. I think it's a fair critique's the wrong word because it's not that strong, but it's a fair take. Yeah, take is a good word for it because
it's a word for it.
Well, yeah, quite so.
Yeah. Anyway,
warm,
so
right?
what a hilarious Darth Vader that is.
I know, right? It is rather something.
Can't stop looking at it.
No, it's very hypnotic as well.
It is.
Yeah, and I sort of, is it bad?
I just look at it and I get the Miko Star Wars disco mix in my head.
Yeah, I can see that. Or like it's just, I'm trying to think of what instrument you could play it on that would feel suitably fabulous. I mean, fabulous is a really good word for these, actually.
They are pretty. Yeah, that's.
They've all got
so weird.
Either the Aquaman or Skeletor color scheme going on.
Yeah,
which is something in and of itself, But yeah, it's really something. Hard to say much more about it. Would you buy one?
Yeah.
There's a question.
No, would you?
No.
No.
I must say,
maybe as a gift for a colorblind child.
That would be an interesting choice of gift. I'm intrigued to see your reasoning behind that, but at the same time...
Well, it probably depends on their level of colourblindness, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. Are they going to get much out of it? It's hard to say.
Or they just think it was an ordinary Vader. That's,
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, and that's fine.
I don't know. That bit, I don't know.
Moving on.
Okay.
So, Vesuvi, thanks very much for your email this week, and hopefully you've enjoyed the descriptions of Darth Fabulous.
Darth Aquaman. Yeah.
Darth Aquaman, yep. Dominion over the sea, mainly because don't put him near lava. Not so much. So, our next message comes from Darth Mark, also known as Mark Airy.
Yay!
And Mark, I have to say, I haven't had a chance to get around to it yet, but I will acknowledge and thank you for. I won a competition of his on his YouTube channel, and I got sent a Stranger Things figure in the post.
Oh, lovely!
Yeah, so that's pretty cool, and I'm very pleased with that. Yeah. So thank you very much for that.
A series of light bulbs.
It's just the word "run" written on my wall.
That's not a prize; that's a threat.
Yeah, I know, right? And someone in the Demigorgon is a bit harsh, I think. Yeah. It's. Anyway, yeah, so Mark, thank you very much for sending that through. As I haven't had a chance to acknowledge publicly yet, but this is... Yeah, if I haven't done it by the time this goes live, then this is... Consider it this. So Mark writes, hello, guys. I'll tell you what, hello, guys.
Hello.
So it's coming into silly season for episode 9.
Yep.
Even though Making Star Wars seem to only make podcasts for their patrons, many theories are floating about. Not really sure where that seems on there.
Shots fired.
Right? I don't know what to make of that. I don't really know their setup, and it's up to them.
I don't know their business model. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, for all I know, they're tremendously successful. More power to them, either way.
Yeah.
Here are 2 theories.
Okay.
The Sith troopers are to combat the Sith.
Oh, okay.
Rob said that Snoke and Kylo had not been Sith, so why would the Sith need troopers? The First Order could be attacked by a new group, the ones loyal to the Empire left behind. Led by Palpatine clones? Maybe Rey was one of them.
Rey was a Palpatine clone.
Well, that is a theory doing the rounds because of the fact they've made a little bit mainly in the Wendig novels of an Imperial research facility on Jakku. That's the main reason. I don't dislike the notion of... I do hate it
on the grounds that it's not how clones work.
Sure, but at the same time, I like the notion of trying to replicate his midichlorians, trying to use his midichlorians to create new life.
Darkness and you went straight to it.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Yeah. Incidentally, the whole notion of you saw the darkness and went straight to it is why I don't buy that the second Death Star's on Acto. because that's one of the other theories doing the rounds. Not one of the ones that Mark called out, but one of the theories. I saw it pop up on Twitter the other week, and I swiftly kind of swooped in and said, I think if that was the case, she wouldn't have been drawn to a hole in the ground.
Isn't the whole point of Actos the original Jedi Temple?
That was my understanding. Was it was the site of the first, or at least it was on the map too. I don't. This is the thing. I don't recall if they ever established whether or not he actually made it to the first Jedi Temple.
Yeah,
Han says he's looking for the first Jedi Temple, but I don't think they ever established that he made it to that. Acto is where it is. I can't remember. It might be.
That's
in
why
Last
I
Jedi.
thought the desert that we saw in the trailer for Episode 9 was going to be Jeddah, because it's established as Jedi relics.
This is true. Yeah.
I mean, most of them have been turned into glass, but
but there's still going to be
something.
Might still be something. Yeah. Sure.
Sith troopers are combat the Sith. I mean, I like it as an idea, but I do have to say it doesn't fit the naming convention.
No, and I think
snow troopers don't tend to engage snow in combat.
But do they call them snow troopers in the films, or have we are they basically marketing names for the sake of convenience?
It's a personal bugbear of mine, yeah. You know what, I don't hate any of this, which is a glowing statement as you're ever going to get out of me.
As far as fan theories go, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, Sith was to come as if it was just not as if why would the Sith need troopers? You know, I there's nothing of that I hate. I think that has potential.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I agree. I think there's some legs to it. The Palpatine clone stuff and the Rey being a clone thing, I like less, but I don't dislike it entirely. You know, so it's kind of I'm in two minds about it because, you know, like I say, there's bits of it I like, and there's bits of it I think are far beyond the pale and wouldn't interest me personally in the slightest. But like I say, I don't hate it, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second theory, spoilers, this one I like a whole lot less, but it's nothing to do with Mark. The second theory is that Rey and company time travel. Stay with me.
No.
The lightsaber is like new. Maz got it somewhere, and she's been around 1,000 years. Maybe not that old, but she could have travelled through time. The Falcon has its old radar dish, and maybe Lando hasn't been around because he died years ago. That's interesting. That and the fact it's called The Rise of Skywalker, maybe they get Luke from the island in the past. The flashbacks Rey has seen are her travelling through time, and the mirror sequence is multiple Reys through time. For a better idea of what this theory is about, have a look at Red Letter Media on YouTube. I'd hate to see it in Star Wars, but I do love time travel. And they have said it will leave our minds blown. Anyway, I'm sure more will come out now we're on the countdown. Keep up the good work, chaps. Darth Mark.
I get what he means by I hate to see it in Star Wars, but I do love time travel. For me, time travel stories have to be about time travel rather than using time travel as a narrative device or a gimmick.
Okay.
So, yeah, Back to the Future works because it's a time travel story. The Time Machine works because it's a time travel story. Star Trek 4 works, sort of, because it's a time travel story with whales and nuclear vessels.
Yeah.
And but Star Wars, it comes back to what I've said before about people wanting to see Thrawn or anything like that. Part 9 of a 9-part series is not the place to introduce the concept of time travel. When, if anything, Star Wars has established that time travel is, if Yoda says always emotion the future is, it's like the idea that time is too transient, too insubstantial to actually interact with.
Yeah.
And really, if time travel was going to be the thing that solved the it's the Harry Potter time turner thing. Why is this the moment to use time travel?
Yeah.
Why isn't saving Alderaan the time to use time travel? Why isn't assassinating Palpatine because the Emperor the time to use time travel?
Yeah.
It's that's why I hate the time turner in Harry Potter. Here's this most powerful thing, so Hermione can get more GCSEs than anyone else. Never mind going back and defeating Voldemort.
Yeah,
that's to me why. Is there room for a time travel story in Star Wars? Possibly as a self-contained novel, as a self-contained one-shot comic, maybe.
Yeah,
as part of the conclusion of a movie series which has taken over 40 years to complete. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, and I wonder if part of the reason I'm so on board is because I recently watched the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child play.
Okay, how was it?
And how best to explain this. It's very entertaining. The production value is outstanding. The performances are excellent. The overall production and experience is excellent. But the more I think about the story, the more it makes me cross.
Hashtag Harry Potter.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot to like about it. Like I say, on a technical level, it's sublime. Like the special effects are incredible. Some of the stuff they do in terms of how they move the sets around and how they address everything is outstanding. But the story relies heavily on time turners.
Okay.
And for me, now I'm sure somebody suitably well versed in the Potterverse or an apologist would be able to pick apart my gripes, but it feels to me like it takes liberties with the rules they've set in their own universe.
Right. Okay, that is a problem.
Yeah. So Avengers Endgame, I think it's been out long enough now. We can talk about it in some vague sense.
That's fine.
The time travel stuff in Avengers Endgame, they set their own rules and they stick to those rules inside inside the film. There's a lot of threads that get opened that don't get resolved, but they establish the rules and they seem to stay pretty consistent to those rules.
Okay.
What other time travel ones are there? We talked about Back to the Future. They kind of stick to those. The Harry Potter ones, Prisoner of Azkaban obviously sets some rules about time travel, and it seems to me like they don't really follow those as strictly as you'd expect from something set inside the same universe.
Yeah.
In terms of production, it's, like I say, it's fantastic. But it feels as a story like elevated fan fiction.
Okay.
That's the best way to kind of break it down. And like I say, it's not to say by any means that I came out of it disappointed or unhappy or anything like that. I thought it was really well done. It's very long. It's 6 hours worth. It's 6 hours worth of play. It's 2 parts of 3.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, it's 2 parts of 3 hours.
So you do it as a 6-hour play?
No, it's not like a Wagner. It's you go in. The part 1's in the afternoon. You do that for about 2.5, 3 hours, and then you go away for a bit, and then you come back for part 2 in the evening. Okay. So it gives you a gap in between for...
Only Rowling could do something like that.
Yeah, she's certainly...
Sheer ego on that woman.
She is a tremendous talent, but yeah, I sympathise with your point there. I will say her Robert Galbraith stuff is excellent.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that.
Yeah, I like that series a whole bunch. Cormoran Strike and the assorted characters therein. Yeah, similar to the Palpatine clones thing, it loses me there. That's kind of where I land on it. It's like it's the Palpatine clones is where the original theory loses me. The idea of a First Order faction, like a new faction, loyalists, Empire holdouts. I can swing with that.
I do feel, as it's come a couple of times, I feel a need to address this. It will leave our minds blown thing. Literally no one involved in the hype or production of this movie was going to get the quote out of, yes, all right.
I would like to see somebody do that.
This is PR. This is marketing. This is promotion. At no point were they going to say anything but, it's amazing. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to make you explode. It's going to make you want to crash your car, all this kind of stuff. They're not going to come out and say, you know what, actually, he's not done a bad job.
Well, I would push back on that slightly. I think Kevin Smith is not affiliated with the production. He's a fan. And, he's kind of, every time he's been able to talk about it, he's always come at it from the point of view of a fan. Okay. So I think you're right. I think that he's certainly not going to turn around and say he has lashed it up so hard, like you won't even believe. Tell you what, you should go and watch it for a laugh. But I tell you what, you are going to come out of it just feeling like your childhood has been violated retroactively. Yeah. He's not going to do that. That's true. Because if nothing else, he's probably maybe they're friends, but
I think he was friends enough that he went to visit the set. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
we weren't. No offense, Joe Abrams.
He's known to be a fan of the series, and enough so that he can be invited to set and things along those. So he's a sufficiently high profile fan, and a sufficiently what's the word, high caliber fan in terms of fame.
Yeah,
that he's been able to sort of wangle an invite to what is otherwise a pretty closed off enterprise. So yeah, I think you're right in that respect, but I think it's fair to say that he's not affiliated with the promotional efforts other than to say, so he could have said, oh, it's really cool and left it at that. But it's this notion of, there's a difference between saying it will blow your mind, because that can just be, like you say, it can just be, oh, it's really good. It's the use of, it's the tone, it's the wording to me that kind of strikes me as he's trying to go to another level of hyperbole and description. But you're not wrong that it is. This is an industry.
Yeah, it's no one's going to be talking. No one in Hollywood is going to be talking this movie down.
No. There'll be a few.
Maybe George Lucas.
Only in private when he thinks nobody's listening. Yeah.
Maybe Mark Hamill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as good as mine. Mine had more toys.
Yeah.
Mine had more droids and more ships.
That's it.
Did you see the new bits and pieces that were kind of revealed by things like the Visual Dictionary reveal?
I saw the TIE dagger.
Yeah, it's an interesting design, that.
I like it.
It's cool, but it's also an interceptor with a tiny, it seems like a tiny variation on an interceptor, really. It doesn't seem like it's that big a technological leap.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it just seemed that way. I don't know if there's some kind of ergonomic reasons or aeronautic reasons for having that shape. Maybe it's better.
That's the idea behind the TIE silencer, isn't it? That it's more aerodynamic. The TIE silencer tends to get used in an atmosphere, whereas a TIE fighter is more versatile and can be used in space and atmosphere. Don't ask me why anything which is built to be used in an atmosphere can't be used in space, because you think it would be even less of an issue than normal.
We would think that, all you need really is the cockpit that can withstand the vacuum of space. Surely that seems like...
Yeah.
You're thinking about
legal disclaimers. Do not drive your Cessna Caravan into the stratosphere.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you were thinking about the time we were playing the Star Wars RPG and your dad tried to punch through the water, through the plexiglass
My dad from Mandalorian bounty hunter trying to punch through the windscreen of a Lambda shuttle, which I did have to point out could contain the vacuum of space.
Yeah, I think that was a fair thing to point out too.
Yeah, and then we blew up an Ewok.
Yeah,
good times.
Because you tried your hardest to keep it alive.
Because he was asking for it.
He was, yeah. He put himself in a position where that was the only eventuality. And when that happens...
As a GM, to kill a player character is an awful thing to have to do, even when it's something as stupid about you. You don't feel good when that happens.
No, indeed.
But at the same time, as the years have gone by, and I play the mental image through in my head, the more I laugh.
Yeah, because it's hilarious.
Trying to distract the ATST, which then just...
Yep. Just
flash of light and a small hood float into a floor.
I believe that, it's hard to, as a GM, to kill characters, because I've been listening to, I think I talked to you about it, the Adventure Zone, this D&D podcast that I've got really into. And there's been a number of times where I think he could have justifiably killed off a player character and has found ways around it.
Yeah, it's not something you ever want to have to do, really, because you don't know how much fun people are having with this character they're playing.
Yeah,
players should be killed off if it is an act of genuine stupidity on their part, which is unfortunately what this was.
Yeah.
And normally you would say, "Oh, you sure you want to do that? This could kill you."
Yeah.
But, he was an Ewok Padawan, so it wasn't exactly canon anyway.
No, indeed. It was certainly taking liberties.
Had a canon, but
yes, that is fair to say.
Problem.
Yeah, that was part of the main issue, I felt.
Yeah.
But anyway, where were we?
That's our opinion on the multicoloured Vader.
TIE dagger, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what was the other thing then? I saw the Sith Troopers and I saw the TIE dagger.
There was the front cover was a Knight of Ren, but it didn't specify which one. But
not a lot of info on them yet.
No, they're kind of cool. I think they're I like the fact we've talked about it before, but I like the fact they have a each one has a kind of a varied up look. It's not just they're not just all uniform like the Praetorian Guard aesthetically. If you exclude the weaponry and
it's a uniform, whereas these guys are.
Yeah, whereas this is a group of people who are, like you say, knights. Just they are they are knights. They look different.
They're the students he took with him when he destroyed the...
That's what we're led to... That's my understanding.
That's Luke's side of the story anyway.
Yeah, that's my understanding is, he took some people with him and off he went, which, fair play, I guess. Turnabout's fair play and all that.
Yep.
And then as the second theory, time travel is always going to get my back up because it's so... It's often executed quite poorly, unfortunately. It just feels to me like a bit of a... I'm not a big Doctor Who person. I'm certainly of the opinion that time travel in that is used as we don't really have to make this make sense because, time travel, it's fine.
See, time traveling Doctor Who, I feel it's like they can just buy any story and make it work. Like they can buy a Robin Hood story and make it a Doctor Who story. Yeah,
which, that side of things I don't necessarily fall out with because I like much like the holodeck episodes in Star Trek Next Generation.
It's the entire concept of Quantum Leap, really.
Yeah. It's nice to kind of go into a world every now and then and just kind of have a little self-contained story that just resolves itself in an hour and everybody's happy.
Totally.
Yeah. But with time travel in Doctor Who, it's always just felt a bit like they can excuse a mistake or a flub or some sort of thing that doesn't make sense by just saying, time travel. So, well, no, that's kind of... It just feels like a bit of a cop-out to me at times. And I don't want, I will once again caveat by saying I haven't got far enough in Rebels to see the World Between Worlds execution, but my understanding is they've done a pretty good job of kind of not using it as a, as a get out of exposition free card.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they don't lean on that because they need to tie any threads together.
I don't think that the World Between Worlds, I think, was purely to bring Ahsoka back. I think that's all it was designed to do.
Yeah. Do you think she's a factor in 9?
No.
No?
No. I don't think. It comes down to that again. You know what? If it had been episode 7, I'd have said maybe. Yeah. Episode 9, part 9 of the 9 parts. This needs to wrap up episode 7 to 9, and this needs to wrap up the entire saga. Yeah. There is limited scope for introducing new stuff this late in the game.
Okay.
Imagine you were reading a 1,000-page novel like a Wheel of Time massive thing like that, and they just threw in a new character and changed the game in the last 100 pages.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, unless it's a villain, I guess. Sometimes they do that.
But this is the scale we need to be.
Yeah.
But if a big villain turns up, they're at least seeded or foreshadowed normally.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say.
Just a big shark, if you may.
Yeah, at the same time, I think big sharks are the kind of villain we can all get behind.
Well, yeah, if you can't smell smoke without shark.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I didn't check that.
Didn't think that through. Should have.
No.
Code. Of the two that Mark's presented there, for me, by far, it's the first one that I like best. The Sith Troopers as a faction rather than a branch of the First Order. But I'm sure Mark seems to be on board, switched on as to fan theories. So I'm sure if he sees any good ones, he will pass them along.
Please do, because
thank you.
we need a chuckle.
Yeah, please and thank you. These are always good for a giggle. So don't feel by any means obliged, but at the same time, we will be very grateful. So. Our final email for this evening comes from Matt via email, and Matt, Mr. Gilbert, writes, "Hello, my little green friends. How are we?"
I was good until you called me Little Green.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, confused by that, to be honest. More than anything else. Not so much put out, but just a bit...
It's a Joni Mitchell song, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I thought to ask how you're doing now, as things may have changed since the start of recording. I'm still hot, so nothing's...
I'm still really hot. I'm sat right by the window. The rain stopped. It's not good.
Yeah, this is... it's still very, very warm, and nothing much has changed in that regard, but thank you for asking. My question this week pertains to The Rise of Skywalker. That makes sense. It's coming soon. As is tradition, we are shown a new force power per saga movie. We didn't see anything new in the standalones, I believe. Thoughts as to what may be shown in Rise of Skywalker? Personally, I think battle meditation could be interesting, but not from anyone living. from the Force Ghosts of fallen Jedi coming to reinforce Rey and anyone beside her. I can imagine them appearing behind her and taking a knee as they meditate, empowering the light side in her to take on the Emperor or Kylo and his knights. Not dissimilar to spoilers for Endgame. Is that long? Are we far enough ahead of Endgame to do spoilers?
I don't know when Endgame came out. I haven't seen it, but I'm not worried about spoilers for it either because I don't do Marvel movies until home release.
Oh, I think this one's actually kind of relatively small. The on your left moment for Cap at the final battle. I'd sprinkle a powerful smell of binary sunsets as they appear to reinforce her. Also, Force horror a la Bane would be boss. Cheers, Matt. Cheers, Matt. Dovetail, do you guys like me, wave a hand at an automatic door to feel like a Jedi?
I can honestly say every time without fail.
I can honestly say I've done it. Yeah. I can't say I do it every time.
It's a reflex now. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear most of that because I went back to the new Force Power per Saga movie and trying to work out if that's true or not.
I was having to think about it. I'm trying to work it out. So episode 4.
Episode 4.
It's all
Jedi
new.
Mind Trick.
Yep. It's all
what
new.
Else do we see?
Force. So there's Jedi Mind Trick. There's Force make stone appear over there.
Yeah.
Force make noise. Force make remote noise.
Yeah. Still better than some of the old canon names.
Yeah,
Force Tapas, anyone?
Empire Force Pull. We never saw that. Up until Empire.
Okay.
Force Jump. Force Assisted Jump.
Force Jump is in Empire.
Obviously Obi-Wan never really did it.
So what's the new one in Jedi?
Lightning.
Okay, yeah. That was really obvious, thank you. Phantom Menace?
No, I mean, I don't know about obvious. It took me a while. Phantom Menace. Force Speed.
Force Speed. And Force Push we don't really see, except as a variation on Force Pull, I guess.
Yeah.
Force Push to send battle droids flying and stuff. We didn't see anything like that before.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So Attack of the Clones is the one I stopped at. Unless he's counting something like Yoda's fighting ability, but that's just Force Jump, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a targeted kind of... Again, I think...
Force Pair?
Isn't that just Force Push and Pull kind of exhibited in mutually,
and
antagonistic...
I feel obliged to mention this every time it comes up. That pair is the single worst bit of CG I've ever seen in any movie ever.
Have you ever watched the alternate ending to Blade 1?
Yes, I include that weird rock DJ animated on a 3DO thing. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Go back and watch it again.
And then compare it to the pair.
Yeah,
okay.
Because I think actually there's something to be said for it. If you go back to it after a little while, it gets worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay. I've got the DVD, so I'm sure it's on the extra there.
It's atrocious.
Yeah.
Utterly beyond reproach. Unbelievable.
So anyway... So what do we see in Attack of the Clones that's new?
I'm trying to think. I'm struggling.
What do we see in Revenge of the Sith that's new?
Revenge of the Sith that's new.
Does he just mean the original trilogy?
Do they ever do a... Hang on. Do they do a lightsaber throw in one of those films?
Empire.
Oh, hang on. No, because Vader does that in Jedi.
Empire or Jedi, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've always assumed his lightsaber, you could just lock off the dead man switch on.
Yeah, I guess so. Just hold it down with your finger using the Force.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how technical you want to get.
Yeah.
He's not got any fingers, so...
I feel like if you talk about trilogies, maybe, but even then, I don't think Rey does anything new in Episode 7. I think she just does it fast.
Well, I suppose Kylo Ren catches the blaster bolt.
Sorry, you're right. He catches the lightsaber bolt, doesn't he?
Basically, you're just force choking again.
He's force choking the tiny bit of energy in the
obviously Force 8's got Force Skype.
Yes. Well, that one's easier to kind of explain away.
Introduced a couple of new ones in Phantom Menace, but I don't think they kept putting new ones in, did they?
Maybe as an average.
Actually, isn't Force Skyping sort of in Revenge of the Sith between Padme and Anakin?
I don't know that they ever communicate using it, though. They just kind of stare at each other's vaguely directions and look melancholy.
Well, we all did that to Natalie Portman back then.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other ones that might be... I'm going to... what will happen is we'll do one of two things. We'll either come up with something or we'll go, now there's nothing, and then somebody will point it out and we'll feel like pullets.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Which I'm okay with.
Standard.
There's worse things than being mistaken about a Star
Being
Wars
berated by our audience.
Yeah, there's worse things than that. At least there's an audience.
Yeah. If there's something, totally. If there's something really obvious, do feel to point it out to us and make it look stupid. But
I'm relatively sure that there are no additional ones in episode 2, certainly. Episode 3 just has lightning and jump. You see characters...
one very ineffective jump.
Well, no, Palpatine's jump's pretty effective.
Oh, right, sorry, I thought you meant Anakin.
Yeah, he takes out Kit Fisto and the other one.
Yes, he does. Oh, yeah, but he does for M. Bison Mega Crusher, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah. And maybe that's it, Force Pirouette.
Yeah. Not the most ridiculous Star Wars thing I've seen today, thanks for TV.
I am graceful like a swan. I can't think of one.
Anyway, yeah. So
that's not to say they don't exist, but
it just made me space out the rest of the email because I was going, mostly because my brain was going, if that's true, how have I never noticed that before?
Yeah, and that still may be the case, as I say.
Yeah.
Podcast at emotionally14.com with the subject Talk Star Wars Mistakes.
I've always said that's one of the strengths of the Alien movies is something new is introduced each movie. Mm-hmm. Not always effectively, but they do keep it fresh, and it's made Alien stay fresher than some stuff like the Elm Street movies, much as I love them, that did end up doing the same thing for 3 or 4 movies in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did go through a period of wheel spinach, it seems.
Oh, totally, yeah. But
spinach.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I still can't tell 4 and 5 apart because I watched them back to back one time. The first time I saw them was like, and one's called Dream Child and one's called Dream
Child
Master, and just no chance of telling them apart.
No, fair enough.
Battle Meditation. Right, what's Battle Meditation we see in Return of the Jedi?
Do we?
Palpatine doing it from the Death Star.
We don't. Oh, I see. Yeah, we've never had it called out in the. We don't have it called out in the film that that's what's happening, though, right?
Oh, okay. No, but I was under the impression that's what it was supposed to be.
I think that has been re-established in canon now.
Yeah.
As why they suddenly just fell apart. Because I was watching the Star Wars Robot Chicken, the second one, the other day, and they said,
I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's like with the battle is lost. Well, we've got loads more ships than they do. Yeah, but the Emperor's dead. The Death Star's dead, and the Emperor was on it. But we've still got way more ships than they do, and they're being destroyed at the rate of not. No, it doesn't matter. He's in charge, so he's gone, and that means that surely somebody else can just. Nope, it's all over. It's off. We were lost. We just got to accept it. And that sort of feels like that's kind of the explanation as to why that happened so fast after he died. Because he was kind of using the Force to sort of bolster his forces.
On that front, I do feel like the old expanded universe dragged that out for far too long. So it was about 15 years before the actual...
Yes.
The Thrawn duology was the end of the Empire, really, apart from... I think Pelion took a splinter group to the Outer Rim, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And he was still in... He was certainly in the New Jedi Order, but they didn't really factor in much. And then I think he was more prominent in the Legacy of the Force. The one about Darth Vader.
The splinter group turned up a little more. Yeah, but they basically have their own sector of space they could rule as the Empire.
Yeah. How they moved all the systems that were willing to that system is beyond me.
No, I miss you. It was a massive logistical nightmare. But if you got a logistical nightmare, I'd say Pelion's probably one of the best people to sort that out.
I think there are worse certainly than than Pelion as far as people who can sort that out go. He's probably one of the more capable.
He was Max von Sydow in my head.
He still made it. Max von Sydow still made it.
Exactly. I think he's the only one of my fantasy cast that has actually ended up in Star Wars so far.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a good claim to fame for him.
Yeah.
In addition to all the...
one dude's head, you were in Star Wars earlier. Did you know that?
Yeah, but I mean, in addition to his entire published work and tremendous success, he's also... Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is you can't say that about Gary Sinise.
No,
because it has yet to happen.
They just got, was it Gads Gickelson they got in the end?
Gads Gickelson. Mr. M. Mickelson Jr.
I forget his name. Really. Niles?
It might be Niles, actually,
Niles.
Nils.
That's what younger brothers tend to be called.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Man, that really is true. So... The notion of having the battle meditation appear like in the form of fallen Jedi of the past, kind of uniting behind Rey.
I don't like it because I think it's incredibly goofy. I think it's incredibly anime, and I think it's incredibly end of level bossy.
Yes, I agree. And I think I'll go you one further as well, actually. I agree with all of those points, and I'll go you one further as to why I wouldn't be personally a fan. It would feel like it would feel like, whether or not it would be intentional if they were to go down this route, it would feel like it was a message to the fandom saying, well, all the Jedi are behind her. Why don't you like her? All the characters you love like her. Everybody thinks she's their favourite. Why can't you just like her? What's wrong with you?
That wouldn't be my take on it, but I can understand it.
Yeah, I certainly think it could be interpreted that way. Whether or not
I agree it could be, and I think they would be wary of that, of being so blatant with that message.
I would like to believe that's true. And that's all.
That's right. That's one of the things we disagree on. That's fine.
That's fine. I was going to say, I would love to believe that's true. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's a point I've made a few times. Is yes, this movie needs to wrap up 1 to 9, but it does also need to wrap up 7 to 9 as well. There needs to be a conclusive finish for the sequel trilogy. It can't just be, oh look, Mace Windu's turned up to save the day.
Yeah,
that would be goofy.
That's true. Goofy would be worse.
Yeah,
if he turned up, it's like, what are you even? I mean, I realise it's all owned by the same parent now, but this just seems disastrously excessive.
Yeah, I can't quite place what it is, but there's something. I feel like I've seen a movie or read a book that does that ending, but I can't for the life of me think what it is.
Potter,
just
isn't
a
it?
load of. Is it?
Yeah, Potter. I know.
Potter.
At the end of Deathly Hallows, he goes on a walk. Basically, I'm trying to remember how he does. He uses I think he uses the Philosopher's Stone to bring back the spirits of all his old dead characters.
Maybe then.
So like his parents come back and Sirius is there and Lupin's there and Tonks is there and it's like a who's who and a who's that of.
The only, I'm not going to do the Palpatine thing because everyone's got their own take about it. The only character from the early movies who absolutely needs to have his presence felt in this film is Anakin or Vader.
Yeah,
it's that's what's should wrap up the final story.
So maybe he makes an appearance. That might be the limit.
Form.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a physical. I just want his presence felt because, as I said before, episodes 8's stumbling block to me was that Vader's wasn't really a factor in it.
Yeah. I'd like to see. Now, how would you feel now to kind of bring it all full circle? How would you feel about an ending where he appears as Rainbow Vader? As if to say, like, Darth Vader was the dark side version. I'm Darth Fabulous.
Darth Disco.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just for heat exhaustion, but sure.
Just because we might melt otherwise, let's go with yes.
I mean, and it would come up with, that would blow my mind, to be honest, if they did that, because that's niche as hell.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
if Kevin Smith came in and said, it only makes sense if you listen to Talk Star Wars. Firstly, our ratings would go through the bloody roof. Can you imagine?
Cool. Yep. I can certainly try. It's been known. But yeah, I would be on board with that. If it was Fabulous Rainbow Vader, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't want time travel to be the bit that blows my mind, but at the same time, I really don't want them to be reaching for a twist ending with this.
Yeah,
blow my mind by making it impactful. Maybe blow my mind by making it visually stunning. Blow my mind by having a peaceful ending. That's fine.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is a great ending. I was really satisfied with the ending of episode 3.
Episode 6 has a good ending.
Absolutely, but episode 3 I remember being hyped for and wondering how it was going to end, and I thought it was, to take it right up to that point, I thought it was great. Similarly, Rogue One, wow.
Yeah, what an ending.
Yeah.
What a film.
Absolutely. I mean, what I like Rogue One is the fact you can go straight into A New Hope from it.
Yeah, and I think also it's fair to say Solo has a similar thing, maybe not to the same extent, but you can go straight from Solo into A New Hope, and that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Because he's, they've seeded the whole Jabba the Hutt thing, and away you go.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I bring Jedi up because it's obviously the original Star Wars ending. This is back when this was just going to be those 3 films. But when it was just those 3 films, Episode 6 was the ending. And even when 1, 2, and 3 came out, 6 was the ending. It was the last one. And now it has to. It's a really poison chalice, this job. Episode 9. it's a very unenviable task, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to name drop. I was talking to Kieran Gillen at a convention. We were both signing out. There's a big queue for him, and there wasn't one for me. Yeah. And
while he was quiet.
I was just saying to him, I really like your Star Wars stuff. I honestly think you're one of the best writers writing for Star Wars at the moment. And he didn't say, I really like your books as well. I know they're all available on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited and Audible. And I said,
sure
thank you for plugging that. Yeah. And he said, who shall I make this out to? And I said, Brad. And I said,
that Brad?
Yeah. I said, I feel really bad for J. Abrams because I don't think I would take that job. Yeah. And Kieran Gillen said, it depends how much money they offered me.
I mean, can we get a wit round going?
Yeah. Hey, Kieran, if you're listening, and there's no reason to believe you're not.
Yeah, totally.
And then we talked about Blood Bowl for a bit.
Nice. That's a good conversation, it sounds like. Star Wars and Games Workshop. Why not?
He plays Skaven, if anyone's interested.
All right. Well, that's useful knowledge for anybody who's has the faintest idea what we're talking about. Yeah.
There's got to be there's some Star Wars Blood Bowl crossover. I mean,
I'm sure there is.
You, Kieran Gillen.
Yeah. I mean, I run Dark Elves, so...
Yeah, okay. I have 3 teams, but Orcs are my favourite.
I have 2 teams technically because I have 1 set of models, 2 sets of cards and dice.
Okay.
So I have the ability to run Elven Union and Dark Elves.
Okay, that's fair.
But officially the models are elves.
I have human, orcs and Skaven, and I do have a dwarf team that I haven't put together yet.
Fair enough.
What I'm hearing is we need to get together and play Blood Bowl.
I mean, we make so many of these things, and there are so many of them, and there are only so many hours in the day, and we are both going to die of heat. So
this is true.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is just let's not overexert ourselves talking about it.
Let's find a nice air-conditioned building to play a nice, quiet game of Blood Bowl.
That sounds like a lovely idea.
Yeah,
cool. All of the things you just said sound lovely. One in particular. Either way.
Yeah.
So, in terms of Force Horror, do you remember what Force Horror manifested as? Because I remember the concept from the books.
It's just it was just a psychological weapon, wasn't it?
Just kind of project horrendous fears. It's basically scarecrow gas, isn't it? Kind of.
Essentially, yeah, but by Bane, which is a different Batman.
That is a very odd crossover that I would still read.
It is. Yeah, totally.
As we've established, I have 2 arcs on the go, and they're both Batman themed. So it's pretty much a fair set that I would give it a go.
Nice.
Yeah. Those are all our mails for this week. Is there any other Star Wars stuff you want to kind of talk about, run through?
My daughter learned to say Rancor.
Are you sure? As in, because that can go very wrong. That's why I asked.
No, she did. Yeah, there's a soundboard on the official Star Wars app, and we go through the different noises, and she likes shouting out who she can hear. Right. And an AT-AT footstep noise gets her incredibly excited. And I was just playing around, and she started saying Rancor for the Rancor noise. So
lovely.
She's picking these things up.
Well, that's sweet. That's not like the Teletubbies one, the infamous one, where the basically the Hoover that normally wakes them up starts yelling abuse at them while they're trying to sleep. It's supposed to be saying "wake up." You can do the "I'll leave you to fill in the rest."
Excellent.
I say I'm trying to think of any other Star Warsy bits. There was some. There's not really been a huge amount out of Comic-Con. D23 is still coming, so I'm assuming they're holding off.
Drop.
They're holding off a bit for that. That'll probably be
Gen Con next week, so hopefully we'll have some tabletop gaming Star Wars stuff we can talk about.
Okay, yeah, nice. Well, anything you're expecting to happen from that?
I made some predictions. I reckon we'll get more news on Clone Wars Armada. I reckon we'll get to see some of the heavier vehicles for Clone Wars Legion, and I reckon we'll get some more Galactic Civil War Legion announcements. Okay. Maybe Outer Rim expansion.
Outer Rim expansion. Oh, is it? Sorry, an expansion for Outer Rim.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. Initially, my brain went to, for some reason, it went to Outer Rim expansion for Legion. I thought, well, you got Han Solo.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that because Armada's done a couple that were just box expansions, but they were like a branching campaign, including a wall chart that you marked off areas of space that your army had taken and what your opponent was. Do you remember what was the video game Empire at War?
Yep.
Where you had to actually manage the logistics side of it as well.
Yep.
It was that, but for Star Wars Armada.
Oh, okay.
So it would be played over a series of months, this long branching Armada campaign. Yeah. If they did something like that for Legion, I would be all over it.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just the ability to kind of They do basically what The Walking Dead All Out War did, and have a kind of campaign mode built into it.
They've released a couple. They've done a couple as organised plays, and they've very generously put them as free downloads on their website, and we've been playing one on Buy When Ready.
Yeah.
But
about halfway in at the moment?
I think there's only one game left to go, actually.
It's three now? Okay.
But they've done three.
Done two. I should know that.
You're making me question myself now.
Well, there are worse things to question, I guess.
So that's my prediction for Gen Con stuff.
Okay, fair enough.
They may take me by surprise, because God knows I wasn't expecting the announcements last year.
No, indeed. They all kind of came out of the blue, those ones. I don't really know. There's nothing really in terms of, Fallen Order's the big video game thing. There's nothing in the way of new announcements for any other games in that vein. Not that I'm suggesting there should be, because sometimes there's a good reason to keep that stuff buried. I think
Battlefront's pretty comprehensive now, and obviously
it seems to be pretty popular.
Realistically, 2020, we're going to do a new Battlefront, aren't we? Expecting is it every 2 years to do a new one?
Yeah, it seems to be on a cycle like that. Yeah,
it's fine.
Battlefront 3, fine. Yeah, get some Krennic. More slightly higher definition Krennic is always welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried my best on that model, mate. Shut up.
Hey, I thought your model looked outstanding.
Thank you. I think it's one of the best one I've ever painted. It's certainly better than my Skaven team.
All right. How did the capes?
It's a different standard, to be honest.
Yeah, and the capes, not so much on the Skaven, they just looks a bit stupid.
No, I think
Mendo makes it work.
When I'm painting figures, my standard tends to be better than the average hero clicks, because if I can do that, I'm happy. With
Set a bar,
because he's my favourite Star Wars character. I took a lot of extra time with him.
Yeah,
and I think in the end there was 15 different shades of white on his cape.
Wow, some attention to detail.
A lot of work.
Yes, I can imagine so. It's a fair bit of attention to detail there, it sounds like.
Yeah, white's hard to paint.
All right. On that note,
okay, yeah.
I don't know what else. Like I say, I'm kind of.
No, we've gone off on a complete tear here, so
which is fine.
Fine. It's what we do.
People have come, I think, to expect that from us, especially when it's a slow news week. Which, let's be fair, compared to some of the other geek franchises, it's been a very slow week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but hopefully.
If they did a Krennic TV show.
Yeah, hopefully there'll be some new announcements soon about some other TV shows that we can't get for 3 months after they launch. Resistance Season 1's coming out on DVD in August for the US, but I imagine that will probably come to us sometime in 2026.
I was going to say it's a joke, but I do actually want a Krennic sitcom where he's kind of like constantly getting into Frasier-type scropes.
I certainly wouldn't not watch that. I would. In fact, that might be... Krennic Adventures, it would basically be enough for me to get onto Disney Plus right away by itself. They wouldn't even have to. They could cancel everything else.
Yeah, his younger brother Niles Krennic into it.
Oh man, I would watch that too. David Hyde Pierce is Krennic's brother. Okay. So that's about all we've got time for this week on Talk Star Wars. Partly because it's been a slow news week, and we've had some lovely input from our listeners, and we are very grateful for that. But also, I am melting, and I would like to go to a room of the flat where I'm not melting, and hopefully stay there until morning. Thank you very much for listening to Talk Star Wars this week. If you've enjoyed the show and you wish to subscribe, then you can do so on all major podcasting platforms and also YouTube as well. It's not a particularly exciting video. It is just the audio with a little player wrapped around the outside, but it's still, it's still the...
I do my best, man. You're really unfair on me.
I think, there's so much I could say, but none of it's really interesting. So let's just move on.
That's the new tagline for the podcast, if you're interested.
There's loads of stuff I could say. None of it's very interesting. If you've enjoyed the show to the degree where you wish to contribute to keeping our running costs as low as they possibly can be, then you can visit our Patreon at patreon.com/TalkStarWars. And in return for just $1 a month, you'll get an ad-free version of Talk Star Wars. If you don't wish to become a patron, then that's fine. Then you just listen to ads and everybody's happy. We are Talk Star Wars affiliated with and part of emotionally14.com, and that's the website where you can find this podcast and lots of other things. This is available on a Monday morning, but if you're a patron, you get it on Saturday. That's another thing worth saying.
Yeah.
So emotionally14.com is where you can find the website where Talk Star Wars is on a Monday. and lots of other great stuff is there on different days. I'm 100% sure that Brad will tell you about a couple of those things in a moment. Speaking of which, Brad, where can people find you on social media?
Well, as you just mentioned, one of the things people can do is I do a Star Wars tabletop gaming show called Fire When Ready, Adventures in Star Wars Tabletop Gaming, which you can find on emotionally14.com and on Emotionally14's YouTube channel, which is me and Ian, my dad, playing Star Wars Legion and Star Wars Armada, unboxings, reviews, protracted gameplay sessions. We are not a serious, nerdy little list building show. It is entertainment first and foremost, so it's mostly Star Wars gags and playing with Star Wars toys. So do come and check us out there, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Fire When Ready UK. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, you can add me on Facebook at facebook.com/BradHarmerBarnes, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RealBradHB, and you can of course buy my books on Audible and Amazon.
Yes, you can, and you can do so via emotionally14.com's Team E14 page. There's a little link underneath Brad's name that will take you to all the books. And you can do that, or you can purchase anything on Amazon using the Emotionally 14 affiliate store, and that gives us a couple more pennies towards running costs as well, which is, and it doesn't cost them any extra, and it puts a couple of pennies in your pocket as the author as well. So
absolutely,
everybody win. If you want to follow what I'm doing on social media, I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at RobWadeVision, and then you've also got Facebook pages and Twitter for Emotionally 14 at Emotionally 14 and Talk Star Wars at Talk Star Wars. And you can find all about that stuff there, including but not limited to the podcast that we endorse on Emotionally 14 and all the other bits and bobs that get published on the site over the course of a typical week. Mm-hmm. Last but not least, I will mention positively, as I'm one to do, the other wonderful podcasts of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. So in addition to Talk Star Wars, we are joined by Tumbling Saber, Generation X-Wing, The Nerd Room, Rogue Squadron Podcasts, the San Diego Sabres, Retro Inc., and the Sandcrawler Cast with Dan and Mike. All of those wonderful outfits produce a variety of great shows for the Star Wars Commonwealth Network, and you can find out more about that on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com. and follow at SW Commonwealth on Twitter and take your first steps into a larger world. I always feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I have. So thank you very much for listening to Talk Star Wars this week, and we will see you again next week for episode 178. In the meantime, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and may the Force be with you.